My name is Sharona Edwards and I am a teacher, wife and mother of 4 beautiful children. I am passionate about helping parents to give their children the best start to reading and writing, which has led to the creation of the School Start Buddy. One very common question I get asked by parents is when and how do I start teaching my child to read? The best place to start is by reading to your baby or child daily, even if it is only for a short time. When your child starts showing an interest in letters and words, for example their name, then it is a good time to start using resources like the School Start Buddy. Every child is different. Some are enthusiastic about learning to read and write from a very young age, whereas many children become interested when they begin school. This video explains why reading to children is such an effective and essential step to teaching a child to read. Reading to your child is a simple and enjoyable way to help your child develop all the necessary elements to successful reading. Watching you read helps the child to become familiar with print. This refers to the text on a page, for example, the letters, words, and sentences. Listening to you read and the way words are put together helps a child to develop natural language structures. A good reader can predict what a word might be by thinking about what would sound right. By thinking about the meaning of what you are reading, a child is developing their general knowledge and vocabulary. A child who is able to connect and use all the pieces of the puzzle will find learning to read much easier. These 3 elements are explained further in my Listening to Your Child Read video. Here are my 10 tips when reading with your child. Tip number 1. Create a special time to read books with your child every day. What better way to show a child how treasured they are by having nothing more important than to spend time reading together? The quality time that you spend reading together will help create a love for books. The theory of establishing a special time, for example after school or before bed, means you will be more likely to read every day. Try creating a special time to enjoy books together and see if it works for you. Tip number 2. Display books and trust your child to select books that you read together. Create a special place in your home where books are displayed and can be accessed easily. This invites children to explore books anytime they choose. When you read together, try to let your child choose the book and be excited about their choice, even if it is a book you have read many times. Visiting a library regularly can make books an exciting part of your child's life and enables you to find out what your child's interests are. Place audiobooks near your child's bed so they can choose to listen to stories as a way to relax. Most large shopping centres sell popular children's movies like Tinker Bell and Toy Story as an audiobook. Tip number 3. Read in a way that is clear and fun. Watch how popular television programs for young children like Peppa Pig and Thomas the Tank Engine engage children in the dialogue. They pronounce each word clearly and use an expressive voice. Try this technique when reading with your child to help them hear and follow what the words are saying. Emphasize emotions like shock, worry, joy, and fear to grab your child's attention and make stories more interesting. Laugh together and share your enthusiasm for books that you enjoy. Children learn to enjoy books by watching you enjoy books. Tip number 4. Engage your child in the book by discussing the pictures and listening when your child offers input. If your child loves to talk about what you are reading, then this is great because reading with your child is not meant to be a passive experience. One of the many learning benefits of reading to your child is that it creates conversation, which is crucial to your child's language development. So much meaning can be gained from the amazing pictures in children's books, which is a valuable reading tool that your child will need to use when learning to read themselves. You may have already noticed your child flicking through familiar books, pretending to read by using the pictures. If what they are saying makes sense, then this is an excellent first step to reading because they are developing their understanding of language. Tip number 5. Use questions as a way of encouraging your child to think about what you are reading. You don't need to bombard your child with questions as a way of testing their comprehension, but rather be aware of the different types of questions that encourage children to think about the meaning of a text. Using Rob Scotton's book about a sheep named Russell who can't fall asleep as an example, there are 4 types of questions that I like to use when reading to children. The first are prediction questions, which involve guessing what is going to happen next. For example, how do you think Russell is going to fall asleep? The next are reasoning questions, which involves thinking constructively about what is happening. For example, Russell tries to fall asleep by taking all his wool off. So you might ask, how do you think Russell took off all his wool? Thirdly are self-questions, which involves relating what is happening in the story to our own experiences, thoughts, and feelings. For example, do you ever have trouble falling asleep? And lastly, recall questions involve remembering what has been read. For example, can you remember the different ways Russell tried to fall asleep? Questions don't have to be a quiz. If you look at the first 3 types of questions, none of them require a right or wrong answer. Use questions as a fun way to encourage your child to think about what you are reading. Tip number 6, develop your child's vocabulary and general knowledge by explaining what words mean and discussing the pictures. Children need to have heard a word and understand its meaning before they can successfully read a word. Reading to your child is the perfect platform to increase their general knowledge. For example, reading the nursery rhyme Jack and Jill can introduce the word pail as another word for bucket. The pictures in children's books are also an excellent learning tool. For example, a picture of a lion might produce such descriptive words as scary, fierce, strong, or powerful. Help your child create a lifelong interest in words by being enthusiastic about new words. Tip number 7, take any opportunity to read to your child for a variety of reasons and draw attention to important features of what you are reading. When eating breakfast, point out the name on the cereal box and features such as the ingredients. Ask your child to check the mail and read letters and catalogues together. Point out signs while you are walking together. See if your child can begin to recognise common traffic signs. Sing songs and nursery rhymes. Cook together. Familiarise your child with the layout of a recipe by reading aloud the ingredients and steps as you cook. Read non-fiction books and point out features such as the contents page, page titles, and glossary. Read fiction books and point out features such as the title, author, and illustrator. Show your child that reading is a part of everyday life. Tip number 8. Use familiar or repetitive books to encourage your child to participate in the reading. You can do this by pausing at a rhyming word and waiting for your child to guess the word. For example, using the nursery rhyme Humpty Dumpty, if a child is able to guess the word fall, then they are learning to read because they are thinking about the way language works. I love to use Mem Fox's book The Magic Hat because it prompts the child to guess the rhyming word because you have to turn a page to find out what it is. If your child knows a book by heart because you have read it so many times, invite them to point to the words as you read so they become familiar with the print. Invite your child to be a particular character from a book you are reading together. For example, using the story The Three Little Pigs, ask your child to use a wolf voice to read everything the wolf says. Familiarise your child with punctuation by pointing out that everything in the quotation marks is what the wolf is saying. Tip number 9. Use familiar books to demonstrate concepts about books and reading strategies in a fun way. For example, using the book Camouflage, you might hold the book upside down and pretend to start reading. See if your child guesses what you are doing wrong and then thank them for helping you. This book is a repetitive book, so it is perfect for helping children to identify words. After several readings, play a game where you look for a particular word on each page, for example, C. Pretend that you can't find the word and ask, what does C start with? Maybe that will help me to find it. Help your child to read for meaning by pretending to read something that doesn't make sense. For example, can you sit the lizard? And then pause and ask, did that make sense? I think I might go back and read that again. Can you see the lizard? Ah, that makes more sense. Or you could pretend to not know what a word says and ask your child to use the picture to help you. For example, using the line picture, read, can you see the... I'm not really sure what that word says. Can you help me? Make your child feel really clever because they're helping you to read. Tip number 10, relax and enjoy reading. If all that you take from this video is the importance of reading books with your child on a daily basis, then you are heading in the right direction. The School Start Buddy is designed to help teach a child basic skills to reading and writing that are taught in the first years of school. It opens up to reveal 2 magnetic whiteboards, one used for displaying the 57 magnetic letters, 24 blank magnetic whiteboard blocks and magnetic whiteboard eraser, and the other whiteboard is for doing activities. Parents who need extra guidance and activity ideas can use the School Start Handbook that provides information on where to start and activities that use the resources inside the case. Your child will be able to recognise and write letters, blend letter sounds to read words, make sentences using the blank magnetic whiteboard blocks, and learn to read words that are in their first readers in a fun and interactive way. The School Start Buddy is for parents who want to get involved with their child's learning to help give the best start to reading and writing.